Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
A boat named Butt Nekkid, a Rolls Royce Phantom, a beach resort in the Philippines, and the money behind that luxury spree came from American taxpayers, hospice patients, students, seniors, and even dead strangers. That racket exploded because President Trump put adults back in charge. Dr. Oz said it in one line that hit like a hammer. The best prescription for a fraudster? Prosecution. Exactly, not another memo, not another consultant panel. Prosecution. And now Trump's team has blocked nearly $200 million in student aid fraud in just 60 days, while the Justice Department rips open a $6.5 billion healthcare fraud machine. Wait till you hear what Los Angeles fraudsters billed in the names of the dead. See, the story matters because it hits the place every honest American feels first, your wallet and your family. When crooks drain Medicare, TRICARE, and federal student aid, they're not stealing from some faceless blob in Washington. They're stealing from a student trying to pay tuition, from a senior counting on Medicare, from a terminally ill patient, from a family already hanging by a thread. Under the Biden administration, weak oversight and loopholes let a fraud industrial complex feast. Trump came back and blew that culture up. His administration required government-issued ID for FAFSA and stopped nearly $200 million from vanishing into fraud in just 60 days. That, my friends, is competent government. And then came the hammer on healthcare fraud. $6.5 billion in alleged false medical claims exposed. 455 suspects charged. Cases across 56 federal districts and 45 states and territories, and more than $182 million in cash, cars, jewelry, and luxury assets all seized. Los Angeles got named for what it is, a hotbed for hospice fraud inside Gavin Newsom's blue state chaos machine. See, Los Angeles got tagged a hotbed for hospice fraud. And that same rigged bureaucracy mindset traps seniors in the Medicare confusion industrial complex. Chapter, though, cuts through it. They're simple by design. One call, one advisor, under 20 minutes. They look at your doctor, look at your prescription, your whole situation, and tell you the truth. No propaganda, just facts. They work for you, not big insurance. If you're already on the right plan, they'll say it. If not, they can help you switch. It's free. Last year, people who found new plans with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. See, clarity is how you stop bureaucrats gaming seniors. So call that number on the screen, 910-728-4109. Don't let the same system that let parasites loot taxpayers keep your family stuck in a bad Medicare plan. Take control before the bureaucrats and insurers skim one more dollar. Now here's the detail that should make your blood boil. Federal prosecutors say that one Los Angeles hospice operator billed Medicare using the names and personal information of dead people that his business never even treated, grabbing up to $33,000 per patient per year. Dead strangers, not paperwork errors, not technical mistakes. Dead strangers turned into inventory. And Fox cameras caught the FBI hauling suspects away in Southern California as Trump's DOJ stacked 10 more indictments under the biggest healthcare fraud crackdown in American history. I'm going to show you the receipts because the receipts are savage, just like this post from Dr. Oz.
Of us agree with the president and the vice president that the best prescription for a fraudster is prosecution.
So that was the Trump line from the DOJ and CMS. Fraud gets prosecuted, period. The crackdown isn't just in healthcare. Education Department says a simple ID requirement stopped nearly $200 million in student aid fraud in just 60 days. The Trump administration prevented nearly $200 million from falling into the hands of fraudsters, and we're just getting started. Trump admitted requiring government-issued IDs to apply for federal student aid saved $200 million in fraud in 2 months. The real-time screening built into FAFSA form stops fraudsters before money goes out the door. So the pattern is clear. Basic safeguards are blocking fraud before the money walks out. Now, look at the kind of racket we're dealing with. Prosecutors say one alleged scammer blew taxpayer cash on diamonds, supercars, and even a boat called Butt Nekkid. Dr. Oz, a beach resort in the Philippines, sees supercars and jewelry worth $2 million locked in a home safe. That's how fraudster Marizel Yuki spent your taxpayer money while targeting terminally ill hospice patients, according to allegations. In just 18 months, she billed Medicare and TRICARE over $900 million, $1 million per patient. Her actions were a systematic plunder of our healthcare safety net at the expense of the most vulnerable. Justice Department and CMS just put an end to her lavish lifestyle and defrauding beneficiaries. There she is. Oh, wow. Would you ever suspect it? Well, now she's going to be wearing an orange jumpsuit. New York Post headline, Trump crackdown uncovers $6.5 billion in fraud. Your taxes were wasted on diamonds, Ferraris, and a boat named Butt Nekkid. So the case shows how brazen these people got while Washington looked the other way. Next to numbers on the Trump crackdown, $6.5 billion alleged false claims, 455 suspects charged, and assets seized across the country. Rapid Response 47, historic healthcare fraud crackdown, more to come. And they offer this screenshot. $6.5 billion crackdown on false medical claims, 455 suspects charged, cases spanning 56 federal districts, 45 states and territories, $182 million plus in cash, cars, jewelry, and other assets seized. 10 new indictments. So the numbers are massive. But some of the ugliest cases are hitting California. Dr. Oz is about to zero in on Los Angeles, where one accused hospice operator allegedly billed for dead strangers and lived large on $27 million in taxpayer money. He says preying on the vulnerable Americans not in need of hospice care. $27 million used to live in luxury. The fraudster is just one of the 455 worst of the worst taken down by our fraud partner, our White House fraud task force partners. Los Angeles is a hotbed for hospice fraud.
This fraudster, he had a few tactics. He would prey on vulnerable people who did not need hospice and then also bill the government for deceased strangers.
Fox was there as Oren Sachar was arrested by the FBI in Los Angeles, charged with stealing $27 million taxpayer dollars in a hospice fraud scheme, allegedly using some of that money to buy this Rolls Royce Phantom.
He was living the high life. He was making millions of dollars fraudulently and is very brazen. And he finally got caught, and now he's looking at significant prison time.
Federal prosecutors say Sachar operated multiple fraudulent hospices, including one spelled as Holly Trinity. Sachar billed Medicare using names and personal information of dead people that his hospice never treated, getting up to $33,000 per patient a year. Prosecutors are also charging two accomplices, including this man, Abraham Shin, who allegedly helped connect Sachar with Jeannie Choi, the manager of a mortuary, who gave Sachar names of people who recently passed in exchange for cash. Medicare Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz says Los Angeles' 1,800 hospices make up roughly 1/3 of the hospice licenses nationwide. The Trump administration is scrutinizing home health and hospices and has suspended 800 California licenses.
We're going to keep aggressively going at this problem because when we go after hospice in California, guess what happens? Hospice in Nevada went up 7-fold. Hospice in Arizona, hospice in Texas, they've all gone up. These scoundrels run to other areas.
And Governor Newsom's office says it hates fraud.
Yeah, sure it does. So what you just saw in Los Angeles, the human face of the scam, dead identities, fake hospice claims, luxury cars bought with your money. Now Fox walks us through the next wave of arrests in Southern California as the DOJ adds 10 more defendants to this historic $6.5 billion crackdown. Trump Daily Post, our streaming partner. Federal prosecutors just arrested and charged 10 more in Southern California. The bus target elaborate schemes involving sham prescriptions and fake hospice care in the greater Los Angeles area.
The Justice Department has indicted 10 additional suspected fraudsters as part of the nation's largest combined healthcare fraud crackdown in history. Fox cameras were on it last night in Los Angeles when the FBI arrested defendants at the center of a $27 million Medicare scheme that took advantage of hospice patients. Prosecutors say one of the conspirators sold personal information of living and deceased patients to the owner of hospice facilities that he used to file fake claims for medical care. Gross. And the amount of theft is staggering. The Justice Department says $6.5 billion in healthcare fraud have been uncovered so far, involving more than 455 suspects across 45 states and territories. Law enforcement has seized more than $182 million in cash, cars, and other luxury assets. Look, we've seen this week with the rollout of Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and the big numbers of what they're making happen. But every day now, they have said, from that day as yesterday, expect more.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars. I mean, on the Medicare side, it's tens of billions. And when you consider all of healthcare spending, it's probably in the hundreds of billions of dollars. And you hope that AI, this is one of those things that you kind of hope technology can help solve at some level, that AI can catch these anomalies, can create a situation where the prosecutors have an easier way to prove the crime. Because we know that these fraudsters are quite sophisticated, and it's really sad to see these people driving these expensive cars, wearing all this luxury stuff at the expense of the most vulnerable people in our community.
So Marizel Yuki stands at the rotten center of this nightmare. Prosecutors say she billed Medicare and TRICARE more than $900 million in just 18 months, about $1 million per patient, while targeting terminally ill hospice patients. Then she turned that theft into a beach resort in the Philippines, seized supercars and jewelry worth $2 million locked in a home safe. Another Los Angeles operator, according to prosecutors, used taxpayer money to buy a Rolls Royce Phantom after billing the government for dead strangers. That's not random fraud. That is predation. These people looked at the sick, the elderly, and the dead, and they saw an ATM. Trump's team looked at them and saw prison. Good. Keep going. Strip every asset, claw back every dime, humiliate every parasite in public. And notice what ties every piece of this together. Trump's people did not beg the swamp to behave better. They changed the system, tightened the screen, made people show ID for FAFSA, blocked nearly $200 million in fraud before the money even left the door, then kicked in the door on the bigger racket with prosecutions, arrests, and seizures. That's law and order with teeth. That's accountability restored. It also exposes a darker truth about blue state corruption, especially in Los Angeles under Gavin Newsom. This was not a glitch. It was a business model. And too many people got rich while decent Americans got robbed. So yes, celebrate this win. A massive one. But do not let up for a second. I want more arrests, more names, more clawbacks, more perp walks. And drop your take below. Send this to somebody who still thinks that Trump is the chaotic one. And watch who suddenly gets very quiet when the thieves start getting charged. And see, I don't want you to miss out. When the noise gets loud, when the news is created, I want to make sure you get the news that you deserve, that you rely on. Text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. Thousands and thousands of patriots are already on the inside track with the Next News Network. They're getting the notifications directly from me when YouTube never sends them. Make sure you get on the inside track too. And since we're celebrating all these wins, celebrate America 250 with the Next News Network by going to the merch shelf below this video or going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.